Hello, folks. We're here to talk about the 4 deadly habits of relationships: selfishness, disrespect, anger, dishonesty. And today I'm going to be talking about dishonesty in relationships. Before we can effectively talk about dishonesty, it's important to first of all define what honesty is. Honesty is being truthful, predictable, and creditable, which means you tell the truth. The people who are in relationship with you find you predictable, and you are creditable, which means you say that you're going to pay at this kind of time and you're going to pay the exact amount, and you do so. You deliver as you say you would. You are integrous. You have integrity. Honesty is also the predisposition of sincerity, where you are sincere, you are honest, you are sincere. Frankness, you are frank, you are truthful with what you say. What you say is what you mean, and you mean also what you say. And it is dependability. People can depend on your word, people can depend on you. And what then is dishonesty? It is being disposed to lie, a propensity to tell lies, being disposed to cheat, and being disposed to steal, and not being worthy of trust. Honesty or trust is the foundation of every marriage or relationship. Without honesty or trust, the marriage or the relationship is essentially non-existent, or it is broken. And what is trust? If trust is very much integral to the success of any relationship, trust, by the definition of Dr. Willard Harley, is trust is the belief that your spouse won't do anything to hurt you and will be honest with you. It assumes a level of care that forms a protective envelope around you. Trust is a belief or an understanding that your spouse or your partner won't do anything to deliberately hurt you and will be honest with you. It assumes a level of care that forms a protective envelope around you. This essentially means that when there is trust, there is a sense of security. That's the protective envelope, security blanket, like a bulletproof, as it were, where you feel safe, something which you feel safe behind. And dishonesty, on the other hand, provides or produces insecurity, which means you don't feel safe, you're always looking behind you, you don't feel covered, you don't feel protected. I would say there are 6 forms of trust, or 6 platforms upon which trust can be built or expected. Number 1, sexual fidelity. In a marriage or in a relationship, every single one of us expects that our partner will be trustworthy sexually, which means they remain committed sexually to just one person, to you as a partner, and you trust them to keep that promise. 2, physical safety. We also expect to be safe with our partners. We expect that physically our partners will not expose us to physical harm or danger. They will not set us up to be beaten. They will not physically beat us up or physically injure us or open us up to injury. 3, we expect financial security from our partners. We do not expect that our partners will lie to us about their financial dealings. We do not expect that our partners will go behind our we do not expect that our partners will go behind our backs and spend the money we have in the joint account without conferring with us. We do not expect that our partner will go to their parents to borrow money or collect money without first of all conferring with us. We do not expect that our partners will go to an ex to loan money or to receive money. That is financial infidelity. And many a times, the betrayal there can be as hurtful, almost as hurtful as sexual infidelity. Number 4, emotional predictability, which means we expect that our spouses will be predictable in terms of their responses. We want to come to a place where we know that, that their yes is their yes and their no is their no. that they are not saying everything is okay. Meanwhile, they are unforgiving, they are resentful, they are angry, and they are trying to take it out on you. They are vengeful, and they say, "Oh, it is well." When there's a pattern like that, then it breeds some kind of insecurity and a lack of trust. You want to be able to depend on them, that they would also not get angry at you at things that were not pre-agreed or arranged, and that they are, in a sense, emotionally stable. Number 5, trust is about confidentiality, which is about keeping private information private and sensitive information about our partner's vulnerabilities. Everyone wants to know that their friend or their significant other or partner or spouse will not expose their secrets. They will not expose things that are particularly sensitive to them. It doesn't matter what they feel, whether the person thinks, oh well, it's trivial or not. But if it's important to me, I don't want it out there, kind of thing. It could be information about a person's weakness. It could be information about their mistakes. It could be information about some family secrets or issues, that they're just personal. And so we want to be able to know that when we share our secrets, when we open up our hearts, those secrets are safe with our friends or our partners. And then number 6, the sixth platform for trust is absolute truthfulness. This is the ability to tell the truth at all times. That if you say something, if you tell a story, we can say yes, it is truthful. It has not been added to, it has not been taken away from. If you say, I am going to the supermarket, you're not going to the gambling place. You're not going to see an ex. You are not going to do something that you never said you were going to do in the first place. As concerning trust, honesty, and transparency, the Bible is very clear that honesty and trust is very integral to the success of any relationship. It says in the book of Genesis chapter 2 verse 25, after it says that for this reason a man shall leave his father and his mother and cleave to his wife, and then the Bible says, and then the two shall become one, shall be joined together and become one flesh. Then he says, and then they were both naked and not ashamed. The man and his wife were both naked and they were not ashamed, or they did not feel shame, one translation says. What this essentially says is that, when you're in a relationship, nakedness means, without any covering, without any defenses or barriers, without any lies, without any deception, that your partner sees you as you are, warts and all. You're not trying to, package yourself or make yourself look better than you really are. Because when they discover later that you held something back, or that there was something that you added to it, you exaggerated, then mistrust begins to come into the relationship. Dishonesty breeds mistrust, which breeds insecurity. And then there is a sense of no shame. When you're in a relationship with somebody you love and you are honest with them, no sense of shame. And then betrayal is the secret that lies at the root of every failing relationship. Betrayal. When the relationship is failing, you will find that the betrayal, that mistrust had happened, someone was dishonest. Usually it is at the root of most failing relationships, that this person betrayed me, even if they were not sexually promiscuous, or they did not break their sexual code, as it were. But generally speaking, we tend to feel like if you're getting a bad run for your money in the marriage, that this person pretended, like as though they were this, they were going to be nice to me, they were going to help out with this, and they were going to help out with that. They put their best foot forward before the marriage. Now they are not doing any of those things, so you feel hard done by, and you feel like as though, you know, you were deceived. Okay. And so also secrets are part of many marriages, sadly, and some marriages are time bombs waiting to explode because they are secrets. You know, they are not naked. They are things they've put behind. Oh, I don't want this person to know this. I don't want this person to know I bought that. I don't want this person to know that I did this, or I did this in the past, or I'm doing this right now. It is hard to trust someone you don't know. It is hard to trust somebody you do not know, which means you may be married to your partner and actually not know them. And you know, when you feel like as though I've been living with this person for a year, but there are areas of their lives that I don't know. I don't know their financial statement. I don't know this. I don't know, you know, I don't know their movement. I don't know what they do from this time to this time. I don't know their password to their phone. I don't know their password. You know, it is hard to trust someone you don't know or who has broken your trust before. Yeah, it is very difficult to trust somebody you don't know at all and someone who has broken your trust before. You know, concerning trust, you know, the Bible is very clear about the fact that, you know, I believe personally that God's intention for us is to love wholeheartedly, love everyone, but trust carefully. You know, so I mean, we love, you know, every single person we should love, but we need to be selective about trusting. You know, people need to prove themselves before we can trust them. And the scriptures, you know, puts it in this way in 1 Timothy chapter 5 verse 22. It says, do not lay hands on anyone hastily, nor share in other people's sins. Keep yourselves pure. Do not lay hands on any. But here it's speaking as regards ordination, the choice of leaders in the church. But I believe if one needs to be careful and prudent in the choice of a leader in church, more so we need to be careful in the choice of a spouse. We need to be careful in the choice of a friend, because if you so quickly and easily just embrace people, friends, without fully knowing them, and then you now begin to share secrets of your heart, or you get into a committed relationship without actually proving them, then you would so easily be betrayed or deceived. Scientific research shows and proves that partners who were sexually involved before they got married have a lower trust level within the marriage. What this essentially means is that, you know, people who were cohabiting, you know, before they got married and they were sexually involved, when they get into marriage, they tend to trust each other less because they think to themselves, if you could break the marriage code before God about fidelity, about not being sexually active before marriage, then who says when I'm not there when we are married, you will not do the same with somebody else? If you can so easily break it. This is not a Christian or biblical research. This is, you know, secular research shows that people who cohabit or are sexually active before they get married tend to have, you know, a higher mistrust level. Okay, so broken trust. One of the first things that usually goes in a relationship is trust. One of the first things that usually goes, it could be as a matter of selfish behavior. It could be as a matter of, you know, anger. It could be as a matter of disrespect or something. But one of the first things that goes is like, in the relationship is like, I don't trust this person. You know, I don't trust this person in this situation, that they will protect me in this situation. I don't trust this person that, you know, they would have my back. I don't trust this person that they won't, you know, go ahead of me, and, you know, they will not want to protect their own selfish interest and take things before me, that kind of thing. Okay, mistrust happens when people violate a pre-agreed boundary, such as stealing money. Partners in marriage could steal from each other. They could do. You know, you have a joint account, the other person is withdrawing, or money comes into a person's hands. You don't tell the other partner. You know, it could be money, you know, that is supposed to be for both of you, and you are spending it by yourself, or you know, or money that is supposed to be for you. You don't tell your partner because you don't want them to be involved with it. You know, I've seen situations where, you know, one spouse goes and buys something behind their spouse because they know that the spouse will not be happy, and and then they hide it somewhere, and then what if the spouse sees it? Trust has been broken there. No matter how small that thing is, and trust there has been broken clearly. Okay, and mistrust could also happen if one of the partners has an affair, either sexual or an emotional affair. Trust could also be broken when one of the partners contacts an ex. Why would you want to do that? Usually, trust is broken when there's a psychological agreement. When I say psychological, it is not written down. It is not been signed. It is not been typed. But internally, it's like, oh, we have this understanding that this will not happen. Expectations that a person comes with into marriage, that you will always be there for me. That's the basic expectation we all have of our partner, that regardless, whether in health, in sickness, in poverty, when things are tough, that you will always be there for me. Trust is built at very small moments, because in marriage, the marriage doesn't happen on the wedding day. The wedding happens, marriage happens over time. And within the time of 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years of marriage, okay, there are many opportunities, to, for there to be mistrust, in the sense that, we look at our spouses when we're in crisis. Do they move towards us or do they move away? And when they move away, even though there's not been a sexual affair, then there's a breach of trust. You feel like, oh, this person does not have my back. This person will cover themselves. When things are tough within the marriage, do they move towards you? Then when you find that, they have a propensity to move towards you, then you know that security is there. That envelope is there of safety. Distrust happens when there's a turning away from a partner at a critical time. When the person feels like, well, when I was ill, you didn't stand by me. When I was going through financial difficulty, you were not there for me. When I was at my low moment, you were not there to support me. Betrayal is thinking that I can do better than what I have now. Even if you have not had a sexual relationship, but when you begin to pass off those vibes with that, look, you made a mistake, and I can do better than what I have now. And where there's a comparison level for alternative, where you think, look, if I had married this person, I'll be more well-to-do. If I had married this person, I would have gone farther along. That's betrayal. And also trashing instead of cherishing your partner. These are trust breakers. Distrust, betrayal, trashing. These are trust breakers. That is, instead of cherishing your partner, saying nice things about you, you just, disdain them a bit useless. This one that, and you begin to deride them and despise them and don't see them as assets anymore. You see them as liabilities. Resentment instead of gratitude for your partner is also a trust breaker, where you begin to resent them. Look at this person, they're not even, and you are resentful instead of being thankful and appreciative of them. Okay, trust is very easy to break, but very difficult to build. A house is easy to break, but very difficult to build. You can break down a house in hours, even minutes, but it takes months to build a house. Should trust be given or earned? Trust needs to be earned. Love should be given, but trust needs to be earned. Trust is built over time, time when the person proving themselves, and over various tests in life. Can trust be rebuilt once it is broken? I say yes. Yeah, but when trust is broken, it is hard work to rebuild it. And if you are the offender when you have broken trust, be patient as trust is being rebuilt, because it takes time. It takes time to rebuild trust. How do you repair broken trust? If you've been dishonest in any way, financially, been dishonest sexually, dishonest emotionally, dishonest in terms of being economical with the truth or exaggerating things, or whatever the case might be, how do you repair broken trust? How do you, when there's been, a relationship has been dishonest and it's begun to breed insecurity, can it be restored? Definitely. I would say there are two things that help to rebuild trust, according to a man called Willard Harley. When you have, first of all, a pre-agreement, both of you agree, you kind of draw boundaries. These are the boundaries that we have. This is what I expect of you when you meet somebody else of the opposite sex, or when you this is the level of engagement or disengagement I want you to have with an ex. This is the way when we talk about things at home, I want us to keep it in the house, between ourselves, those kind of things. And this kind of joint agreement will be never do anything without an enthusiastic agreement between you and your spouse. If your spouse's behavior reflects his consideration of your interest and feelings, you have good reason to trust him to avoid doing anything to hurt you. The second rule, according to Willard Harley, is the policy of radical honesty. And I agree to this, wholeheartedly. Okay? He says essentially, reveal to your spouse as much information about yourself as you know, your thoughts, feelings, habits, likes, dislikes, personal history, daily activities, and plans for the future. This rule adds an important element to the protection that the policy of joint agreement provides. It guarantees transparency so that nothing that your spouse does is ever hidden from you. By following this policy, your spouse gives you good reason to trust that what he tells you is the truth. But when this is broken, when there's no radical honesty, there's been an affair or some kind of financial infidelity, now your spouse has proven to be incredibly thoughtless. He or she did nothing to protect your feelings, but instead ran roughshod over them. And your spouse was amazingly dishonest. It was only when your spouse was faced with an undeniable evidence did he or she grudgingly and defensively finally admit to one lie after another, rarely accompanied by an apology. Considering these failures, can you ever trust your spouse again? This kind of behavior creates an environment or an atmosphere of dishonesty and insecurity. And the question is, when do you know when someone is worthy of your trust again? It will usually take time. But when your partner or the dishonest spouse now consistently begins to become honest and open, two very different things, and it has to be consistent over time. They have proven themselves to be honest and open, or honest and transparent. And what is the difference? Honesty reveals the truth when asked. Did you call your ex? Did you visit your ex? Have you been in touch with so and so within the last month or two? Yes, I have been. That's honesty. Okay. Did you spend money that you were not supposed to spend? Yes, I have done. Openness, however, where honesty is commendable, openness is even more commendable, because openness reveals the whole truth even without being asked, which means you were going onto the supermarket or wherever, you were in the shopping mall and you met an ex. Okay, your spouse does not know about it. Honesty is if your spouse happened to have seen it and they asked you and then you told the truth. Openness is when you tell your spouse that I just want you to know, and this is under a condition where you know they would never know or never have imagined that you will meet an ex. And then you come back home and you say to them, look, I just want you to know for accountability purpose, that I met my ex at the shopping mall. We spoke for 5 minutes. There was nothing to it. We just exchanged greetings, and that was it. And it is important, if they ask you any questions, you want to be honest about it. But openness is always better than honesty. If there's continuous and consistent openness in a relationship, even after trust has been broken, what would happen is trust will be rebuilt over time. Dishonesty is a dangerous habit to any relationship. We want to make sure it does not thrive within our own relationship or our marriage. God bless you as you build a stronger marriage on great and effective habits.